Welcome back to Mornings. Are you starting to worry about how you're going to look in a swimsuit this summer? Well, now apparently is the most popular time of year for women to hit the gym, dose up on the fake tan, and apparently seek breast augmentation. To explain the latest in breast augmentation procedures, cosmetic surgeon Dr. Anoop Rastogi. Good morning, Anoop.
Good morning, Kerri-Anne.
Now, I was fascinated. There's news out from Britain just this week about natural breast enlargements using unwanted fat from our own body. Could you explain this new, supposedly new procedure?
It's actually not such a new procedure. It's basically one can remove fat by a process of liposuction, and rather than throwing it away, some of it can be re-injected into the breast. It's been around for a long time. It's had a few issues in the past with the fat leaving some calcium deposits in the breast and also leaving some cysts. So it was not without its drawbacks, but the procedure has gotten better and better, and we probably will see it coming back as a worthwhile procedure over time.
So Britain has just caught up on this, but Australia has been doing it for quite some time.
Yes, at least 8 to 10 years it's been available in Australia.
Yes, taking it out of one place, putting it somewhere else, it's got some, some pluses there. Okay, in terms of cosmetic procedures, all that is happening in Australia, yes, what would be the #1 cosmetic procedure?
Breasts, definitely. Breasts and liposculpture are the biggest cosmetic procedures.
Literally thousands and thousands every year?
Thousands every year of breast and liposculpture.
Okay, well, let's get down to, the latest. Now, what are the types of breast implants that have been used and are now currently being used?
Okay. I guess that...
Actually, we've got some before and after photographs here, so I must make mention, if you've got little kids at home, you don't feel comfortable with them seeing breasts, I'll let you make your decision now, but we are going to show some of those photographs before and afters, so I just need to mention that. So the new implants?
Yes, we've been using silicone breast implants for several years now. There was a period of time when they went out and then they've come back in. They were concerned about health risks, which all turned out actually not to be true. The big advance in implants today is a new coating on the implant, which is actually made out of polyurethane, and what that does is to help reduce the risk of capsular contracture, which is the implants going hard. And so that's a risk that's been getting smaller and smaller over time, and now it's gotten...
You've got an example
I
there.
do.
So that's the silicone?
This is our standard breast implant.
Oh, okay.
A wonderful implant. It works very well. It's very soft. It feels very natural in the breast. But a percentage of patients will get firmness of their breasts with these in it. The breast forms a layer of scar tissue that can contract on these. These are the very latest things that have come in. They have this white furry coat on them, which is a polyurethane coat, and the body actually binds with this, and it prevents capsular contracture. So, which is the hardening of the breast. Which is the hardening of the breast. The other thing about these is because they sit so well in the breast, they just don't sag. So it's been an excellent improvement that's made a fantastic procedure even better.
Where do these things get inserted?
Okay.
And how?
Well, there are, depending on how thin or how much tissue the patient has, we can either place these on top of the muscle or under the muscle, and that's the pectoral muscle. So is the pectoral muscle. So we know what blokes are like. Yes.
Flat-chested, but they can do that funny thing with their pecs if they're really fit.
Yes.
So that's the
pectoral muscle.
And then, of course, the breast is on top of that.
That's right. And so the natural breast tissue of a woman sits on top of that. And the implants would go behind all of that breast tissue, and in fact behind a lining behind that breast tissue, but then in front of the muscle fibres. Or we can actually lift the muscle up and place it underneath the muscle if the patient's too thin.
How big a cut incision is now?
With our standard breast implants, the incision, it varies from surgeon to surgeon. In my practice, 3.5 to 4 centimetres, it's actually quite a small incision in the crease under the breast.
What's the sort of recovery rate?
For my patients, we find that they'll have surgery today on Friday, and then they'll go back to work on Monday. The procedure has become much more gentle. The recovery is actually quite quick. We don't want them exercising too quickly, but in terms of getting back to life, it actually happens quite fast.
And what sort of anaesthetic?
It can be done under a twilight anaesthetic or under a general anaesthetic, where mostly it's done under a light general anaesthetic.
I've got to say, for a lot of women who have been very flat-chested and they can't buy clothes, let alone getting into summer, it just balances.
Oh, absolutely. The woman is, the breast is probably the most obvious female characteristic, and for a lot of women, being flat-chested is a real source of anxiety for them. breast augmentation just I guess gives them what they wish they'd always had. You know, for some women, it just doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
They're quite happy with themselves having...
You must get the right advice, clearly. If you're going
course.
to any surgery whatsoever, you've got to get the right advice.
And that's the key to it. You go and see a doctor if it's something you're interested in, listen to what he says, do your research on the internet, and choose wisely.
Now, you've talked to us before about injectables.
Yes.
Now, I'm holding one of these, can't open it because it's all sterile. Explain what this is.
Okay, these are breast injections, just like one can have some fullness put into their lips or fill out the lines and wrinkles in their face. You can actually also inject this liquid, which is a gel called hyaluronic acid, which we inject into the breasts to create a breast augmentation. So you can increase the size of the breast.
Hyaluronic acid sounds serious.
Oh, it's actually a normal component of the human body, and in fact, the clear jelly that's inside your eyeball is pure hyaluronic acid. And
now, this is a macrolane procedure here.
Yes.
I've got to say, it doesn't look dramatic, but it's just literally pumping it up. How long does it last?
Lasts 12 to 18 months, 2 years in some people. And this is great for people who really don't want surgery, but would like fuller breasts.
Painful?
No, not really, not at all. And recovery, I mean, you go back to work the next morning. It's done without under local anaesthetic in the surgery.
And the last thing, and this is not associated with breast, but this is a procedure I was fascinated about. A lot of people who have seriously dark circles under their eyes, just that's the way they're born.
Look,
it's not from a hard night out.
No.
And there's a new procedure there.
Yes. Dark circles is really something that bothers a lot of people because it makes them look tired, it makes them look ill. And oftentimes it's either a little bit of fat that's creating a shadow or it's pigmentation. Now, if it's a little bit of bagginess of the lower eyelid that then causes a dark crease underneath, one can actually fill that out so that the dark circles are removed. And
I've got to say, those photographs, before and afters of those, look quite remarkable.
And that after photograph is taken 5 minutes after we've filled that. And so you can see she's got a combination of a trench beneath her eye bag, plus some pigmentation.
Well, a lot of the girls have been talking about it, and I must admit that looks pretty impressive. Dr. Anoop, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Oh, always a pleasure, Kerri-anne.
I love the fact that it's breast season
Indeed
in the summertime.